My associates would like to welcome you to our webinar. My name is Lee Matthews. I'll be your host. I have a lot of information to cover, and as I value your time, I'd like to get started right away. The first person I'd like to introduce you to is Sandy Botkin. Sandy Botkin, the author of the best-selling book, Lower Your Taxes Big Time, is the CEO of the Tax Reduction Institute. He has stated on many occasions that the average person will make the wrong choice when it comes to deciding on how best to generate additional income because of a failure to understand that there are two tax systems in the U.S., one for employees and one for business owners. Sandy Botkin gives the example of a couple who earned $40,000 a year. They were struggling financially, so the wife decided to get a job, and she generated an extra $20,000 for the family. But at the end of the year, they didn't seem to be any better off, and they couldn't figure out why. Sandy provided the following explanation. During the year that she was employed, the couple had to pay $4,845 in federal and state taxes on the additional $20,000 that was earned. They had to pay a 7.65% Social Security tax on $20,000. That totals $1,530. Assume that she drove 10 miles a day to work, round trip. 10 miles a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. At the IRS's current 55-cent per mile rate, that's $1,375 in non-deductible commuting expenses. Assume that the wife eats lunch at work and that she spends $7 a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. That's $1,750 in non-deductible lunch expenses. Business professional attire is probably required, so that means more upkeep. Additional expense in dry cleaning will amount to at least $1,200. With both spouses working, they prefer dining out rather than cooking after a long day's work, so that's an additional $2,000. Assuming they spend at least $125 a week on childcare, $125 a week times 50 weeks a year is another $6,250 in expenses. Most of that is non-deductible, although they may receive a tax credit on that. The final result, out of the $20,000 in additional income that was earned, they only pocket $1,050. This couple works full-time. They're putting up with a commute, and they now have to keep two corporate overseers happy. All this for $21 per week in additional income. Is it worth it? I think not. So what's the answer? The answer is to take advantage of the tax write-offs that are available to those who operate a home business in a professional manner. Sandy Botkin is fond of saying that from a financial point of view, you'd have to be brain dead not to have a home-based business. The rich understand that there are two tax systems in the United States, one for employees and one for business owners. Remember, an employee is taxed on 100% of their income. But a small business owner, on the other hand, is only taxed on the income that is not used to promote and develop their business. As long as you run your business with an honest desire and expectation of making a profit, you can take advantage of every small business tax law, whether you operate your business full-time or part-time. Sandy believes that a home-based business owner should be able to safely and easily reduce their taxes by $3,000 to $6,000 every year. You may have heard of Robert Kiyosaki. He is a well-known author and entrepreneur. His best-known book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He introduced the cash flow quadrant, and I would like to use it as a webinar reference point. Now, statistically, 95% of us find ourselves in the upper left portion of the cash flow quadrant. Everyone in the E quadrant is an employee. We have a job. We work for someone else. We exchange our time for money. Now, I hope you realize that employers consider employees to be liabilities. It's only when your employer has generated sufficient income to cover overhead, including your salary, that a profit can be generated. That's why it's to your employer's advantage to pay you the minimum necessary to keep you from leaving. Unfortunately, everyone in this quadrant has the highest tax liability because here up to 50% of your income is taxed by federal, state, and local authorities. Now, just about everyone I know would rather be self-employed rather than work for someone else. They'd like to be in the S quadrant. If you are self-employed, you are exchanging your knowledge and expertise for money. The main thing preventing most people from entering this quadrant is capital. It costs money to gain the expertise and knowledge necessary to become self-employed. If an individual is able to borrow the necessary funds, they are willing to accept risk, because if they should be unsuccessful, they're still responsible for paying back the funds that were borrowed. The good news, though, is that a self-employed person's tax liability decreases by approximately 10%. Remember, though, everyone on the left side of the quadrant must work continuously. The moment they stop working, their income ceases. That's why Robert Kiyosaki recommends that everyone become a business owner, where they can work a system to leverage their growth. In the B quadrant, you earn leveraged income. With leveraged income, you can earn in a month what most folks earn in years. This is why many well-respected business and income-generating experts focus on network marketing and multi-level marketing. And the tax bite continues to decrease. In the B quadrant, as little as 20% of your income is taxed. But your goal, according to Robert Kiyosaki, is to work in the I quadrant, where money works for you. Once your work in the B quadrant has allowed you to develop a continuing, self-generating residual income, you'll become an investor and be able to develop passive income. In the I quadrant, with the right investment vehicle, as little as 0% of your income is taxed. So now that you understand the cash flow quadrant, let me show you exactly what we'll cover in this webinar. Firstly, I'll show you how to transition from the E quadrant to the S quadrant by becoming a home business owner using absolutely minimal capital. Then, I'll show you how to transition from the S quadrant to the B quadrant. I'll do that by showing you how to become a business broker like me. And finally, you'll see how to transition from the B quadrant to the I quadrant in a very reasonable amount of time. I'll do that by displaying a timeline along with the income that can be generated using DirectView. So let me ask you, if you found the perfect way to generate wealth and had the time to fulfill any desire, what would you do? While you're doing that, let me go ahead and show you Corporate's overview of what we have to offer. Once again, it's a way for you to move from the E quadrant to the S quadrant.
What you're about to see is an exciting home-based business. A business with no employees, low startup costs, and a proven system of training, support, and experience. A business that combines the power of the internet with the comfort of your own home. A business that is expanding aggressively across North America. A business that is looking for people just like you. So if you've ever wanted to own your own company, to work from home on your schedule, on your terms, in a fun and exciting industry, with a proven publicly traded company, then this may be exactly what you've been looking for. The industry is travel, the multi-trillion-dollar industry that appeals to every age group, every interest, every demographic. The company is YTB Travel Network, one of the fastest-growing host agencies in the world. Yet we don't advertise. We don't use television, radio, or billboards. We use something much more powerful. Something that makes those traditional forms of advertising obsolete. The most effective form of advertising in the world. Word of mouth. Hard to believe? Well, think about this. Have you ever gone on a vacation? Ever come back and tell anybody about it? Ever talk about the resort, the cruise, the destination? Of course, we all do. It's human nature to share recommendations and stories about things we enjoy. We do it all the time, talking about movies, restaurants, and, oh yeah, travel. And you see, just doing that over the last 10 years, talking, sharing, and referring, we have sold nearly $2 billion worth of travel. But we weren't the ones doing the talking. It was our affiliates, people just like you, moms and dads, brothers and sisters, friends and family, people who are looking for a fun, exciting part-time home-based business in an industry they already love, travel. You see, it's really pretty simple. We could hire an advertising agency with a director and actors and fancy special effects. We could buy millions of dollars of TV and radio airtime, create big magazine layouts and print campaigns, or we could pay people, like you, for talking. How does it work? Simple. When you purchase our business system, you will receive a state-of-the-art proprietary ytbtravel.com website, customized with your name. A turnkey business with access to literally billions of dollars of inventory. The same planes, hotels, cruise lines, and vacation packages that the other guys have access to. And then we will pay you, the RTA, a full 60 to 80% of all the commissions paid to YTB Travel Network when your friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors book through your site. A site that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because it's on the internet. Look, everyone agrees that travel on the internet is here to stay. And regardless of current or future economic conditions, people are still traveling. Just look at the airport. So how do we compete? How do you compete? Simple. If you compared two websites with the same exact vacation, same room, same hotel, same plane, same seat on the plane at the same price, who would you buy from? A faceless corporate website or your mom? Mom wins every time. And that's what we are. An army of moms, cousins, friends, and family simply asking the people we know to travel with us. So what are you looking for? Something fun to do on the side? A part-time business just to keep your options open? Or a brand new career? Perfect. We have what you've been looking for. And the best news, you can get started today. When asked, many people think that a turnkey business like this could cost $5,000 to $10,000 or more. We made it affordable. This business, with its access to billions in inventory, with a proven model and proven training, costs less than $200 to get started. And that includes your first month of hosting. After that, it is only $50 a month, about $1.65 a day, to keep your site up and running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Remember, this is a business with no employees, no collections, no inventory, and no quotas, in the largest, most glamorous industry on the planet. And there is no experience required. Interested? Perfect. If you like what you've seen, get started today. This may be exactly what you've been looking for.
So there you have it, the full picture. The next move is up to you. If you were invited to this webinar by one of our associates, please get back with them and have your questions answered. Thanks for attending. I hope you found the webinar to be enlightening. I'd like to leave you with this video. I think you'll enjoy it. Cheers for now.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.